What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation Forecast episode 56. I think. Pretty sure. Pretty confident on the old 5-6. I am your host, Alex Derrickson, as always, and until proven otherwise, and I hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great week. I know it's early. It's probably Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Some of y'all are weird with how you listen to this. Don't think I'm not watching, because I am. I am watching. I'm checking that shit out. Anyways, hope you guys are doing good. Hope you had a great, fantastic, splendiferous last 7 days between this last episode and this one that we are doing now. If you're watching live, welcome. So I guess we'll talk about some games here as we typically do, kicking this thing off. Didn't get into a lot. Had a lot of... If you sat in on the Wednesday stream for Falcon Age, which is what we're going to discuss here in a second, you may have noticed just a litany of technical issues. And I pretty much dedicated Thursday and Friday to sitting in a corner and weeping about it. And then Saturday and Sunday and actually trying to correct it. I think we're good. You may, if you are watching the video version, you may see me kind of leer out of my right eye here a little bit. My right eye, maybe your left, but because I'm trying to watch the audio levels, because they were giving me fits, and I think I solved the problem. And this is the issue, right? This is the issue, y'all. When you do something like this by yourself, you tweet at me a lot over at twitter.com/pressxtoalex talking about how I don't know how you do a podcast by yourself. Truth be told, 56 weeks in, neither do I. Because I don't know how. I don't know how this has happened, how this has still managed to be happening. I am elated that you are here. I am excited that you are listening. It makes me very proud. I'm very proud of what I've been able to create alongside with you. However, I do not know how this ship has not just fucking sunk to the bottom of the deepest, darkest sea with the heart of the ocean and the old woman that threw it off the boat. Like, both of them just rotten in the belly of the beast of what makes up 70% of this world, just sitting there going, "Fuh!" Throwing shit into the water, and that is where I'm surprised that this has not ended up. But that's just me. You know, I hold myself to an expectation of some kind, but I think we got it fixed. I'm going to be kind of monitoring it throughout the evening, so I don't want you to think I'm not paying attention to you or like over my vanity monitor here, the confidence screen. I'm actually just making sure that I'm confident in the fact that this is fucking working right, because it hasn't for the last few weeks. But played some Falcon Age. I didn't get anywhere near deep into it that I wanted to. It's a shorter game. It's about 5 hours from what I've read. I'm probably maybe 2 hours into it. Now the cool thing, I want to break down Falcon Age a little bit. It's from Outer Loop Games. Full disclosure, code was provided to me by the publisher, and the PR team too. Thank you, as always, for your support and your belief and in this product as well. But with Falcon Age, it's a VR game. You can do non-VR, so I don't want you to be like, ugh, like some of y'all were State of Play, right? Like, it's VR, but you can do not VR. It's totally fine. It's totally legal. No one's going to come knock at your door. And so you started the game in a prison. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of, I don't want to call it a wasteland, but it's definitely more of like a desert kind of world. At first, and you're walking around, you're in this prison, like this labor camp basically. And you befriend this bird, this fallen bird, a falcon. And you feed it, and you get to play with it while you do manual labor, and then you escape the prison. And then it becomes this like training thing for the bird, and then you start trying to take the land back. That's about where I'm at with it. It's really, really cool. It's a very cool game. So you can play it in a multitude of ways. You can do VR, you can do not VR. When you're in VR, you can do it with the DualShock, or you can do it with the Move controllers. I did it on the stream on Wednesday, VR with the DualShock. So the movement is that teleportation base where you're kind of like planting the circle and the arrow where you want to go, and then you flick the right stick to do the quarter quarter circle turns, you know? That I'm not a huge fan of that just across the whole spectrum of VR. Like, that's not a knock against Falcon Age. I don't like that in general. Like, I understand VR leaves you prone to motion sickness, but that gets me every time. Like, it's an adjustment, and I'm kind of turned off by it whenever it happens, but you acclimate and you adapt, you overcome. But uh it's so cool getting to interact with that bird, man. Like I'm upset actually that I didn't go move controller route, because I think it'd be a much more intimate like bond that you build with your virtual bird. But y'all can fist bump, and you can make like a little heart with your hands, and he'll stick his head through it, and it's the cutest thing in the world, and you feed it, and I love it. And then he gets big, and then I got sad. But you get a hat you can put on him to make him little again. Because if y'all know me, I love being a dad, but the one thing that I dread is my son actually getting even remotely the least bit older, and I'm entirely against it, and I want him to stay little forever, and I'm going to do that with the bird. I'm just going to pass all of my fear and my anguish about my impermanence onto this virtual bird. But clean the desk off here. There's some debris. But did that, played it for a little bit. One thing I really liked about it, and this is the avenue I'm actually going to pursue. There is a mode called imprint mode. And in imprint mode, there's little, I don't want to say little to no, because that implies none. There are far fewer enemies that you have to fight, like different robots and stuff like that, and different things that attack and hurt your bird, because fuck that. But it kind of, it's an easier mode, but it's more narrative based, right? Like it keeps you more focused on the story, progressing kind of like what you need to do, the story beats, bit for bit and everything like that, without having to run interference on, robots and droids and things like that coming at you, or having to monitor your bird getting attacked and things like that. It kind of, I don't want to say it levels the playing field, because it definitely tips it in your favor of making the game a lot easier, but I kind of want to explore that a little more, because I was getting into it, and like the combat's cool because like you're just batting stuff with a baton, and like that's neat. I like that. It's fun. But at the same time though, every time I came across like something I had to like fight, for lack of a better word right now, because we're doing it live, I kind of was just like, like I don't really want to do it. And that wasn't what I was looking for in the game, and I understood going in there was going to be, combat I was going to have to address. But if it's cool combat, like I'm in. And it's not that this was uncool combat. This was just in the spectrum of the type of game it was. I was definitely it's something that when I play it, like I want to play it for leisure. I want to play it more for progression than I am wanting to play it for like antagonistic sake, if that makes any sense. So I do want to get more into that. I don't know if I want to keep doing that this coming Wednesday. I haven't quite decided on the Wednesday game yet, but I do want to get into it more a little bit this week. It's a holiday weekend coming up for us in the United States, so I might check it out. I don't know. I want to finish The Walking Dead so I can kind of move on with my life. So that's a toss-up. It's either going to be episode 2 of The Walking Dead this Wednesday, or more Falcon Age, because I don't feel like I gave it a fair shake, and I feel like I can kind of reposition the stuff here to make VR a bit more suitable, a bit more conducive for me, but I'm not entirely sure on that yet. But Falcon Age, good. I really do recommend it. If we're going to get into the technical drawbacks of it, I could see the art style turning some people off. There was a few people in the chat that were kind of like, yeah, like this doesn't really, like, it looks cool, like getting to fist bump the bird and I guess like talon bump it's pretty neat, but like actually the art style and stuff like that might turn some people off. From a technical standpoint, there's a lot of pop in, and you hear me talk about pop in a lot, but this one has a lot of pop in. So I think part of that is because of the teleportation too. So you're kind of moving from like 6 feet at a time, basically. So that environment's got to come up for you. But like, the grass meets you there, and like the environment is there, but it's the textures that are missing, and those kind of eventually come in and fill in those gaps. But that's kind of the thing. It's one of those like in VR that takes you out of it. It's like, oh, yep, yeah, well, hold on, it's a game. Because like as you move forward, it's like cool, but then it's like, oh, and here's the grass, and here's some rocks, and then here's the cliffs, and then here's the texture on the cliffs, and here's this. So you kind of like have to like watch everything kind of load in front of you or around you. Not a lot of voice acting. And I mean that could be a good or bad thing for anybody. The voice acting that is there, like in between the dialogues between like the main character and her aunt. Her aunt actually, I mean, this is like a 2-minute dialogue, like back and forth, where you're picking dialogue options, and then she replies, and you pick a response, and she replies. But like she only has like 3 lines recorded. And I understand it's an indie game. I just kind of wish that either they went like not all in or nothing, but like some more variety, or just not at all, and like let the music carry it, because the music is really pretty, and it makes you feel better, like more of the world and things like that too. It acclimates you more into the environment, I feel like, and I didn't really feel like I needed like parsed out, like, you know, just pieces of dialogue here and there. I didn't need it. It didn't make me feel any more like at home in the game, I guess, and it was more of like a detractor for me. But from there, I mean, like, I really do like it. I recommend it. I don't think it's anything that you shouldn't, like, you know, at least check out if it seems up your alley, for sure, especially if you're in like the more, you know, narrative exploration game. You can do that. But I'm in for it. I really like it. I do want to keep playing more of it. I just I need to get it back into it. I just need to pick up where I left off with it. But other than that, I mean, didn't get a chance to play a whole lot of other stuff. I don't know if I'm done with The Division. I don't know. And like that breaks my heart in a way, but I feel like I'm just going to let everyone just kind of pass me by, and I'm just going to be the tortoise in this race. Have some other stuff I kind of want to work on too, so I don't know like how much more I'm going to play and stuff. I want to kind of get back through God of War, because there's something I want to do with that. Excuse me. I've been putting that off for like 6 months. And then there's stuff that I really just want to actually sit down and play, and that was kind of my focus this year. So I don't know. I got the Mass Effect trilogy still across the room staring at me and mocking at me. So that's always on the table too. But what else is on the table is the fact that this is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/PressX2Alex and the podcast service of your choice, including Spotify. I know there was a problem this past episode with the Spotify. We've rectified it. It's fixed. I don't know what the problem was, but I made a minor adjustment in the episode title, and it popped up within like 2 minutes. Had I known to do that on Tuesday, I would have done that on Tuesday, but that's where we're at. So if you're a Spotify exclusive listener and you missed last week's episode, it is there, and it does exist now. So if you didn't get it at one of the other like 24 podcast services this show is on, including Spotify, but not including SoundCloud. And remember, if you want to get the show early, how early can you get it? You can get it live on twitch.tv/PressX2Alex at every Monday night. Between like 7 and 8 is usually when I'll start. And if you want to have your voice heard on the show, remember you can write into psforums.pressx2alex.com, or just get at me directly via their Twitter at twitter.com/pressx2alex, where we can talk about games or basketball or wrestling, or I don't really care. I'm pretty much open to talking about most things. And if you want to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe. But remember, if you want to go beyond that, you can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/PressX2Alex, where you can support the show at the one tier to rule them all, which is just the $1 tier. Full disclosure, you can go beyond the dollar. I'm not going to ever stop you. But it is just the $1 tier, so if you want to help support the show at $1 a month, you can. And if you can't, don't worry, it's still going to be here. There's no paywall. There's no gated content. Tuesdays, 9 a.m., YouTube, podcast services, bing, bang, boom, bango, bongo, down the mighty Congo. This thing's going to be there for you like a warm hug on a cold winter morn. Now, without further ado, I'm just hitting stuff against the desk. I'm going to take a drink of water, and then we're going to get into the news. Oh, that's good water. All right, first bit of news comes from the PlayStation blog, where, ladies and gentlemen, we can do it. It's been done. Our prayers have been answered. We can change our PSN IDs. And this comes from Big Top Sid Schumann over at the PlayStation blog. We are excited to announce that the online ID change featuring on PSN is officially launching to all PlayStation 4 owners later today. This was written a few days ago. You'll also be able to change your online ID via a web browser, and that feature will also be available starting today. Thanks to all of you who participated in the beta preview program back in October and November and who gave us your feedback. We do want to take this opportunity to clarify one point. As a result of the review of the preview program, we found an instance where a game did not fully support the feature, even though it was originally published after April 1st, 2018, contrary to what we mentioned in our original announcement. All PS4 games originally published on or after April 1st, 2018 have been developed to support the online ID change feature. However, since they have not all been specifically tested with the feature, we cannot guarantee that they will support it. For more details and information, we encourage you to refer to the list of tested games before making a change to your online ID. Do keep in mind that the large majority of most actively played PS4 games support this feature. We are sure you have questions about this long-awaited feature and how it all works. This FAQ should have the answers you seek, but if not, just leave us a note in the comments. Not the comments here, not mine, not on my comments, on the blog comments. Leave them on the blog for Big Top Sid Schumann. All right, where and how can I change my ID? You can either change your ID on your PS4 or web browser. Then it goes into the steps on how to do that. Can I change my online ID on my PS3 or PS Vita? No. Do I have to pay to change my ID? The first change is free, and changes after that will cost $9.99 US dollars Americano or Canadiano. For PlayStation Plus members, it will cost $4.99 of those dollars Canadiano or Americano for each change after the first one. Will my friends be able to find me with my new online ID? When changing your online ID, you'll have the option to display your old ID next to your new ID in your profile for 30 days. This will make it easier for your friends to notice your ID change. You can only select this option at the time you are changing your online ID. How many times can I change my ID? There are no restrictions. How can I revert back to my old ID? You can, as long as your old ID doesn't violate the terms of service. You can revert back to any of your previous IDs by contacting PlayStation support. Do I have to pay to revert back to an old ID? No, reverting back is free. What happens to my old online ID? Can someone else take it? No, your old online ID is only available to you. If I change my online ID multiple times, can I revert back to any of my past IDs? Yes, you can revert back to any of your previous online IDs as long as those IDs do not violate the terms of service. How many times can I revert back to an old online ID? In general, there are no restrictions to the number of times you can revert your online ID. Can any account change their online ID? Child accounts cannot change their online ID. I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun reading this, and that's not a bad thing. Seriously, child accounts cannot change their online ID. Do all games support online ID change? A large majority of the most played PS4 games that we tested support the feature. We recommend that you check out this list of tested games. It is a link that you can click in the article before you make the actual change. PS3 and PS Vita games are not supported. What do you mean by a game supports the online ID change if it was originally published on or after April 1st of 2018? Are you fucking kidding me? That's a frequently asked one. What do you mean by... Okay. The game must have launched for the first time on or after April 1st, 2018 to support the online ID change feature. For example, a game that first launched back in 2013 that has since been remastered or resold as a complete edition in 2018 does not apply. Why is it the only games published after April 1st were developed to support the online feature? Games published after this date were developed using tools that support online ID changes at a system level. Will all PS4 games released in the future support this feature? Ugh. All PS4 games originally published on or after April 1st, 2018 have been developed to support the online ID change feature, but we do not guarantee that all games will fully support the feature. What kind of issues could I potentially run into? Why did you bury in the lead here, Sid, putting this at the bottom? Your previous online ID may remain visible to you and others in some areas. You may lose progress within games, including game save data, leaderboard data, and progress towards trophies. Part of your game and applications may not function properly both online and offline. You may lose access to content, including paid-for content, that you may have acquired for your game, including content like add-ons and virtual currency. What should I do if I encounter an issue? If you experience any issues while playing a game that is not on the list of tested games, we recommend that you revert back to your previous online ID that did not have those issues. Reverting back should resolve most issues. So there you have it. To me, it sounds like way more trouble than it's worth, especially when I still kind of, futz around on my PS3 and in my Vita. I don't want to mess that stuff up. Also, I am like a closeted hoarder, so I want to retain everything that I can, and that includes an online ID that I don't really use for anything anymore. Remember, that is OWL-X if you ever want to friend me on the PlayStation Network. Could I change it to Press X to Alex? Sure. Will I? No. Owlex was my original thing. This is apropos of nothing, really. But Owlex was my original thing, and I realized I was losing my stranglehold on that name when I couldn't get it for Twitter. Somebody had beaten me to it. I've had that for MySpace. I had that for Facebook. I had that for PSN. I had that probably at some point for Xbox. I don't really remember, but I have had that through just a multitude of services, and it's starting to catch on that that's a funny way to spell Alex. I don't like it. So no, I'm not going to change it because that is my last bastion of hope that I can still remain OWL-X, and because it sounds like an owl that doubles time as a secret agent. Anyways, you can change your IDs now. I saw most people on Twitter kind of doing the change and then saying they haven't run into any problems. No one's really like followed up on that I've seen to be like, oh, hey, like actually. But so far, so good. So if you want to change it, you can. It does like to tell you, are you sure you want to change it? You've had this name since, and then it gives you a date because, again, you don't know how much time has passed. So, I mean, roll the dice on it if you'd like. Like I said, I don't really care to. I don't need to. And I don't want to risk losing anything that I've done, let alone possibly like anything at all. So I'm not even going to take that chance. Next bit of news comes from Adam Bankhurst over at IGN, and I'm going to fight off a sneeze the entire time I'm reading it. Sony files patent for VR-compatible prescription glasses. Sony has filed a patent for VR-compatible prescription glasses that would theoretically work with PlayStation VR and would utilize eye tracking to help improve performance for those who use corrective lenses. I am in for this. Some of these websites have a tendency to make noise, so I'm going to mute this laptop now. Continuing, as reported by Silicon Era, this patent looks to solve the issue for improper eye tracking while using prescription glasses with VR headsets. Due to the glasses' lenses, the, quote, direction of the gaze cannot be determined as accurately. This causes blurriness, distortion, reflections, and more, especially since the glasses might not stay 100% in place either, end quote. Sony believes the solution is making the prescription glasses the source of the eye tracking as opposed to the VR headset itself. The glasses would contain technology that could detect when a VR headset is being worn and would activate sensors to detect the user's gaze and transmit it back to the VR display. The VR headset, which would likely be a newer model of the PlayStation VR, might have a camera to further detect the physical position of the glasses and provide greater tracking for those wearing these lenses during play. While a great concept, it is important to note that patents are filed all the time by companies testing for the future and may never see the light of day or may take idea from patents and implement them into something new entirely. Sony has in the past filed patents for backwards compatibility for a potential, although obviously unmentioned, PlayStation 5 and a Switch-esque handheld that is different from the PlayStation Vita. I just threw that in there because I thought it was really cool. I don't have much to really expand on it, and Adam kind of just, hit the ball out of the park there, stole the words right out from under me, saying that Sony's kind of known for filing patents on ideas and not really letting them see the light of day. You may recall there was a patent for a while that was like a controller and it had like move elements into it, and you could slide the grips off of the controller, and then you had two move wands. You could kind of see elements in that with the motion tracking in the DualShock 4, but without the slidey doos. So I mean, like, certain things like that you may see get implemented down the line, but if we're talking consumer-friendly prescription glasses that work with PSVR, I would say at best you're 6 years away from that, even being consumer-friendly priced, right? Like, I look at that and I see that being the same issue as, like, the 3D glasses that you could get when the 3D monitor came out, and how those were like, yeah, it was like $60 each, which is absurd. And so, I mean, if we're talking at a consumer-friendly price point, I don't know if we'd ever see something like that. Now, whether that is something that can be implemented into the headset to recognize glasses and then kind of have all those bits and worsies kind of going on over your face. Like, maybe. But in terms of a separate pair of standalone glasses that you'd wear alongside VR, that seems like a little much. And I mean, I've played it with my glasses on. Spoiler alert, I wear glasses. If you don't watch the video version, I sometimes have glasses. But I've worn the VR headset with glasses, and it doesn't make a huge difference. My wife's worn it with glasses. Like, we've had people come over and have done VR with their glasses on, and no one's ever been like, oh, my face! So, like, that's kind of good, right? But, like, I don't know. I could see, like I said, I could see where it'd be like a problem for some people, but like as a whole, in my personal experience, have not seen anyone wear the headset with glasses and then been like, that was a nightmare. So if you're just trying to assuage some technical issues, sure, I could see where you could implement bits and pieces of that into a newer headset down the road. But as a pair of standalone prescription glasses that that work and integrate with the VR headset, I don't know if we'll ever see 100% that actual idea. All right, next news. This is from over at Game Informer. Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus are to discuss Death Stranding at the Tribeca Film Festival. This is from Cyril Vasquez. Last we heard of Kojima Productions' much anticipated and very mysterious game Death Stranding, it was behind schedule, which is not a good sign. It looks like creator Hideo Kojima is ready to give us another update in just a couple of weeks, though it may not be a major one. Is it ever? Kojima and actor Norman Reedus, who stars in the game, along with the Game Awards' Jeff Keighley, are set to discuss the game for an hour at a panel at the Tribeca Film Festival on Thursday, April 25th. The panel description says that, quote, together they, brackets, Kojima and Reedus, bracket, will discuss pushing the boundaries of the video game medium and talk about how their relationship has established over working on the title together, end quote. The panel doesn't say any new gameplay or concepts will be revealed, and it's likely to be more of a, quote, behind-the-scenes, end quote, discussion rather than a deluge of new info. Still, it's possible some new details might spill out of the panel, so if you're just dying to see what Death Stranding really is, it may be worth marking April 25th on your calendar. I got nothing else really to say about that outside of that. I mean, just more Death Stranding coverage without a date or a time or a window or anything. Like, I wish it's quieted. The fucking klaxon of people that are just, you know, going and hitting the damn it's coming out in 2019 alarm can just, it's tempered. It's gone down, which has been nice because I don't like seeing people just setting themselves up to get disappointed, because it's just like you're doing this to yourself, y'all. Like, just chill. The date will come and they'll hit it, maybe. But like, there's so much other stuff coming out. You got Days Gone next week, and then you've got like a bunch of other games that haven't been announced with dates. And so I don't know why anyone wants this to be rushed. Why anyone would want this to come out this year, and maybe it's the absence of heavy hitters in the PlayStation library for 2019. But we also don't have a full 2019 release calendar in front of us. So yes, could Death Stranding come out in 2019? It could. I do not see in any circumstance where it could come out in 2019. Same with The Last of Us, same with Ghost of Tsushima. I don't see it. It doesn't make sense. And the deeper we get in the year, I hope that those alarms kind of get turned off. But so April 25th, Tribeca Film Festival, you can catch some more Death Stranding information there. Next news comes from The Hollywood Reporter. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice sells 2 million copies in the first 10 days. This is from, oh my goodness, where are your bylines? Hollywood Reporter, Patrick Shanley. The Japanese game developer... Wait, there. Okay, that's... Who starts a lead with just a sentence? It's no game over for From Software. The Japanese game developer has developed another hit with the brutally difficult action-adventure game Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which sold over 2 million copies worldwide in its first 10 days of release. The game, developed by From Software and published by Activision, bowed March 22nd to overwhelmingly positive reviews, despite a few op-eds lamenting its stiff gameplay challenge that some used as a launching pad to discuss accessibility features in games. Sekiro is yet another hit from Software, best known for its Dark Souls franchise, which has sold over 13 million copies since the first title launched in 2009. Available across PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, Sekiro puts players in control of a shinobi warrior named Wolf, who traverses a dark, fantastical reimagining of Sengoku-era Japan. Sekiro's launch is one of the best of the year thus far, especially for a more niche title with steep learning curve for new players. In February, Capcom's Resident Evil 2 and Square Enix and Disney's Kingdom Hearts 3 both got off to hot starts, selling 3 million and 5 million copies respectively in their first week of launch. But unlike Sekiro, those games were either a remake of a very popular title or the long-awaited installment in a best-selling franchise. Meanwhile, for Activision, Sekiro is another solid launch following the Spyro Reignited trilogy in last November, which sold 1.04 million copies in its first week, and sales 30% higher in its first month than all of their previous titles in the series combined. Cool. I mean, congratulations to FromSoft. Like, that's obviously huge. It's also another nice little nail in the coffin about single-player games being dead. Like, I've talked about this. I talked about this with I can't remember the game now. But I was talking about the game's ability, its staying power via word of mouth. How long is this the zeitgeist? How long will you get on Twitter and see more and more stuff and still see stuff about Sekiro, still see stuff about RE2, still see stuff about like Black Ops or whatever, right? And you still see people talking about, still see them talking about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice on there. They're still talking about the difficulty. They're still talking about the bosses. You still see people reaching out to other people for help, and those people coming in and being like, hey, like, did you try this, 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 and this? Friend of the show, Joseph, over at PlayStation Lifestyle, we had him on for the Game of the Year show, and I know he loves those Soulsborne games. He loves Soulsborne the way I wish I loved almost anything that wasn't human. So, like, his affinity for those games and his ability to speak on them confidently, like, I trust his opinion on them, because the Lord knows I'm not ever going to play it. I know my limits, and I know that game is not for me. I'm not going to get down the accessibility rabbit hole. I understand. I will sidebar, detour for a second. I understand if you make a game that is strategically and intentionally difficult. I get that. If that's your thing, if you still want to ride that high from that old arcade game mindset, that's fine. It's cool. But it does cut people out. Like, I know something like Neo, I know something like Sekiro and Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and the only reason I have or would ever try Bloodborne is because it was free, and so I have it. But like the other games in those franchises, like, that doesn't interest me. That doesn't. I would love to go in there and be like, yeah, this is the other reason why I would play Bloodborne, is to be like, oh, I would just want to see how hard this actually is. Like, could I actually be maybe good at this? And I know the answer is no, but that doesn't stop me from being curious. But it's a game that does require a mix of skill and a mix of will. It's that perseverance versus your actual ability to play the game. And you get something like, you heard me talk about Dead Cells, last year, and how the game is tough but fair. Like, if you mess up, it's on you. You know how to get better. You know what you need to do to adjust, and it's up to you whether you do or not. And I get that those games are the same way. With something like Sekiro, though, it seems like that curve is way steeper than what, like, I think other FromSoft games have been. In terms of the accessibility argument, would a difficulty level be nice? Yeah, because I may be more inclined to check something like that out. And that's for me being a fully able-bodied person. If you're going into, you saw like Steven Spawn talk about it with Able Gamers and using that game as an example. He put up this 3,000-word article talking about it and how that is alienated, and it feels unwelcoming, and I 100% get that. I get that a lot, and that sucks. That sucks that, like, there's a game that is out there that isn't a direct middle finger to disabled people, but it doesn't consider them. There's not adjustments. And if you get into, I can't remember his last name, but Matt that made Celeste on his Twitter, he actually broke down like, hey, if Sekiro had accessibility controls, here's how I would do it using Celeste as a model. And it was a really fascinating like Twitter thread that was breaking down like, okay, you could have sliders here and here that could adjust this, this, and this. And that's, I think, what more people are looking for is like the minute adjustments, the fine-tunedness to kind of be like, hey, like you can make this game as hard or easy as you want, but you could also make it exactly what it needs to be for you. But when you get into actual accessibility controls, that is something that I firmly believe Microsoft has stolen the spotlight from Sony on, like entirely. They worked with Able Gamers and with the accessibility controller and all that to make sure anyone could play something, you know? And those sort of like button adjustments, I think, are crucial. And being able to remap a controller, I think, is important. And stuff like that's not there, you know, as opposed to like tapping to run, being able to hold something, or like maneuvering where something else goes. There's fine-tooth granular adjustments that can be made within a game that doesn't take away from how difficult it is, but could at least allow more people to play it. But congratulations to FromSoft. 2 million in 10 days is awesome, especially for a new IP, and especially in an era where everyone's still trying to vouch for single-player games not being dead, and consumers come out time and time again, and we prove them wrong. We prove us right, them wrong. That's what we're trying to do. See, small news story here. It's from Michael McWhorter over at Polygon. Infinity Ward Respawn co-founder Jason West joins Epic Games. Former Infinity Ward president and the co-founder of Respawn Entertainment, Jason West, has joined Epic Games, the maker of Fortnite and Unreal Engine. Excuse me. That sneeze came out as a burp. According to an Epic spokesperson, West is, quote, contributing to Epic's development efforts, end quote. The Game Awards creator Jeff Keighley first reported the news on Twitter, saying that West has joined the company about a month ago. Epic confirmed to Polygon that the former co-head of Infinity Ward Respawn is now at the company, but did not comment on which project or projects he was contributing to. West co-founded Infinity Ward with Vince Zampella and Grant Collier in 2002. The team created the original Call of Duty series and the popular Modern Warfare sub-series, but West and Zampella were fired from the studio by parent company Activision in 2010. The duo later formed Titanfall studio Respawn Entertainment, where Zampella still works. West retired from Respawn in 2003 to address unspecified family issues. If y'all listen to Kind of Funny Games Daily, they touched on that on Friday, and talking about Jeff Keighley breaking the news on Twitter, it was Greg that said, oh, they were just probably at dinner, and he's like, yeah, I work here now, and Jeff just goes, can I tweet then? Sure. Other than that, I don't know, Epic's making some moves. We're opening some Respawn people, former Respawn person, and a former Infinity War person, so no word on where that's going, but salient news, threw it in there. Next news comes from Tech Radar, and probably a myriad of other places are going to be quoted in here too, but this is the cleanest article I could find about it. From David Neild. It sounds like we've got a Horizon Zero Dawn sequel to look forward to. Horizon Zero Dawn has been a huge hit with PlayStation 4 gamers since its launch in 2017, and while a sequel has yet to be officially announced, a follow-up appears to be in development. Voice actor Janina Gavankar, who is behind the voice of Taya in the Frozen Wilds DLC for the game, let it slip that Guerrilla Games is working on the next game in a series at a Star Wars convention. In a video clip, Gavankar says to a fan, quote, wait till you see the sequel, end quote, and tells her, quote, you're gonna die, end quote, when the Horizon Zero Dawn 2 finally gets its big reveal. So that's really all that was really let slip. I mean, I don't think it's no secret, right, that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is going to be a thing. I think the question I have is, you know, we talked months ago about Guerrilla expanding. And if they now maybe have an A team that's working on Horizon 2 and a B team that might be trying to push out a new Killzone to kind of bookend this console generation, the same way it launched with Shadowfall, maybe bookend it with a Killzone, just kind of like a holdover title. Same way Insomniac did like Ratchet, right? Which has still been suspiciously quiet. So kind of looking at that's interesting. Not a surprise. I think, and we've talked about this before on here, and I'm sure it's been mentioned on other podcasts too. I don't want to see a world where PS5 launches and it's not with the Horizon sequel, because I do think that is a statement launch. Like, even if you put it out with like, oh, and Last of Us 2, oh, and Ghost of Tsushima, and whether all of those are going to be cross-generational, I think we're going to see the lines aren't blurred on console generations this time around. We had that first ever like iterative jump where you could get a higher end version of the console you already own. But I think this generation is going to officially kind of blur those lines, or maybe do away with them entirely. And a lot of that's going to be telling with how Microsoft rolls out any announcements they do at E3. So if they were all like, hey, yeah, this is the new Xbox, it's going to do this, 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 and this. It's also going to play Xbox One games. And then these new games could still play on Xbox One, but at a lower resolution or lower quality. Like, it'd be interesting to see if there's going to be, like, if you buy a PS5 and you get Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on PS5, if Sony's like, hey, this will also play on your PS4, but it just won't look as good. It won't be for, like, high-end regular, like straight up 4K, or there's going to be checkerboarded, it's going to do this, or it's not going to play as great, but it'll still play the same way that, like, hey, you've got this game, why don't you play it on a Pro? It's going to look prettier, and then why don't you marry it because it's going to last longer? And I could see that same kind of sub-step being made in the next generation to be like, hey, look, like this, the PS5 is going to play PS4 games and PS2 games as an emulator and PS1 games as an emulator, and if they can figure out PS3 games, but I doubt it because of the cell processor. But if they're like, hey, also these new games that are coming out for the PS5 will play on your PS4, but it just at a much lower quality, like minimum specs, kind of like if we're talking like PC stuff, I think that's where the lines could get really blurred. Where you could max out, where kind of still tying it back to the phone iterations, right? Where like at a certain point you kind of have to change iPhones because the OS, like the phone can't run the OS anymore. I think we could see a step like that to where still sticking with Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or God of War, whatever you pull out in your fantasy brain, to be like, hey, this is going to play best on PS5, second best on PS4 Pro, like shit on PS4. And I think that would help sell more PS4 Pros and then also encourage PS5 too. So I think that's one way that Sony could eat their cake and have it too. Whether that's the case, God, who knows? I'm speculating again. Here I am. But it might be something that would be ideal. That would be my ideal take on that, is to be like, hey, here's this game. It's going to play best on System A, play good, if not pretty damn good, on System B, and you can play it on System C, but it's going to be kind of, so we'll see. But no surprise, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is in development. Janina Gavankar's involvement with it kind of makes it seem like I should play the Frozen Wilds just because I haven't yet. And it seems like because she has a character in there, if her character is playing a larger role in that, I should probably know. But, so she's obviously is either in it or she knows a lot of people in games, from doing Battlefront and other games and stuff like that too, that she has inner workings and inner connections, and they showed her around. And then obviously she has a relationship with Gorilla, so they could have just shown it to her too. That's it though. Next news. We're going back to the PlayStation blog for this one. It's your first look at Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So remember how I said I did not think that game was going to come out this year? I was wrong. Surprise. You shouldn't be surprised. Really, you should never be surprised when I'm wrong. This is from Jay Ingram, parentheses, Charlemagne, the community engagement specialist for EA Star Wars. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is an upcoming third-person action-adventure game made by Respawn Entertainment and EA. On the heels of its reveal at Star Wars Celebration Chicago, we're giving the world its first look at the next major Star Wars title. The single-player story puts players in the boots of Cal Kestis, a surviving Padawan in a post-Order 66 galaxy where the Jedi are considered traitors. The galaxy has never been more dangerous, a more dangerous place for a Jedi. The once wholly trusted Jedi Knight are now betrayed without hesitation by a fearful populace. Only the Force can be a trusted ally. It's up to Cal to hold the light of the Jedi Order above the darkness as he ventures across new worlds and uncovers ancient pasts. Working together with a team of unlikely allies, Cal must do whatever it takes to survive as the Imperial Inquisitors hunt him down as he seeks to restore the Jedi Order. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order releases on PlayStation 4 and multiple other consoles November 15th. So I don't know if you all have seen the trailer for it. I'm not going to sit there and do like a shot-for-shot breakdown of it. So the Cal Kestis is played by Cameron Monaghan from Gotham and Shameless, and I feel like some other stuff that I'm just missing. But Gotham and Shameless stand out the most. How do I put this lightly? I think it's a cool concept. Let's compliment sandwich this. It's a cool concept, a post-Order 66 world where Jedis are outcasts and prone to betrayal, bridging Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. The issue I have is the trailer gave me nothing. It was a bunch of CG strung together. Just CG cutscene after CG cutscene strung together to tell you the narrative. Cool. You could have given us something. Not asking for like massive amounts of gameplay, but like let's see how like the blasters work. Let's see how the lightsaber works. Just a tease, a taste, a little, you know, just a little on it. And the absence of that didn't do anything to push me on it, especially when the game's coming out in November. Now, obviously, EA Play will be in June, and I'm sure we'll have a whole bunch of stuff about that then. But I don't know. Like I watched the trailer. I watched it like 2 or 3 times, hoping one of these I'd get more excited. And maybe you don't tack that trailer 24 hours after you just show the trailer for episode 9, when like hype is at an all-time high, right? Like I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, like this just looks more like a short film I'd watch, or like a side canon kind of show I'd check out maybe. It didn't do me anything to sell me on the game because it showed me nothing of the game. It looks gorgeous, but again, that's pre-rendered CG. Nothing about that said in-game. Nothing about that said anything. It's just like, hey, look, unless they said it like in the lead-in to the trailer. I just watched the trailer. I didn't see the actual like discussion about it. But just watching the trailer at first blush, I was kind of like, all right, that's a Star Wars game that's trying to do something different, I guess. Looks cool. I hope we'll have more to know in June, but as it stands right now, I'm pretty on the fence about it. Again, really cool concept. I like that era because that's such an untapped market for those stories to be told, especially when Disney kind of retconned the expanded universe the way they did, unceremoniously and very rudely. Because Shadows of the Empire counts, damn it. But you look at it, and for a game that is 7 months away, it's like I would have loved to have just seen a snippet of what that gameplay is going to look like, or what those worlds are going to look like. Like, show me something. And it really didn't, aside from like, here's a pretty video. And that wasn't enough for me to push me forward. I'm not trying to be like doom and gloom talking about this, right? But like, it's just, I can see why people are excited because it's a new Star Wars game and like it's the Titanfall team behind it, and like that's all great. That ticks all those boxes. But like at the same time, they're like, show me something in there outside of just pre-rendered cutscene footage. All right, some news, and then one more news, I think, and then it's just kind of announcements, and then we'll get into the drop and everything like that, and we'll get us all back to our day. This is over at the PlayStation blog again from Kristen Ferrito. The PlayStation Road to Greatness 2019 schedule is out. Road to Greatness is back. We'll be bringing the latest and greatest in PlayStation gaming to festivals and conventions across the United States, starting this weekend at Salt Lake City Comic-Con. This is the first stop of many, so keep an eye on our tour schedule, which we're going to hit on here. The Road to Greatness truck will be featuring the latest and greatest games, including Days Gone, MLB The Show 19, Trover Saves the Universe, and so much more. In addition to the latest games, the crew has built out even more gaming stations, and we don't just mean in terms of quantity. We've gone all the way on quality too, with each demo on the truck running on PS4 Pro. So the schedule is here. I want to highlight. I highlighted it on Twitter. I'm going to highlight it in here too. Cincinnati is spelled capital Cincinnati. That is how you spell Cincinnati. I should know. It is on my address. I know typically I just say I do this as a podcast in Ohio. Fucking spoilers. Cincinnati. That's how you spell it, PlayStation. Not Cincinnati. Now, granted, Cincinnati is, I think, at one point the second or third most misspelled city in the country, behind Pittsburgh. But you are PlayStation. You are Sony. You probably at some point have a map or an almanac or fucking census report or something that says you could have Googled it. Like you have an internet. Cincinnati. Single N, 2 N, 1 T. Boom. That's it. Not this single N, 2 T crap. Get it? You might as well put 2 I's at the end of there. Read a book. Anyways, I love you. Get me into Burnberry. So it's going to be coming to Salt Lake City. I'm going to read these off in order. If you want the dates, you can get the dates yourself. I'm going to tell you the cities. Salt Lake City, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Memphis, Tennessee, Arlington, Texas, Gulf Shores, Alabama, Phoenix, Arizona, Cincinnati, Ohio, Nashville, Tennessee, San Antonio, Texas, Dover, Delaware, Milwaukee, which is spelled correctly, Wisconsin, Cleveland, spelled correctly, Ohio, Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, Reddington, New Jersey, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, San Jose, California, Nashville, Tennessee, Seattle, Washington, San Diego, California at Caboo, San Diego, California at Miramar Air Show, Sacramento, California, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Pensacola, Florida, Nellis AFB, Nevada, Phoenix, Arizona, again at the Fiesta Bowl, and New Orleans, Louisiana. So this runs from the Atlanta, Georgia date at Six Flags Fright Fest date is to be determined. That's the only one that doesn't have an official date. But this starts in April, and it ends in January. So it's going for a minute. But you can check those out or go to roadtogreatness.com for the most up-to-date listings as well. But that's available for you on the PlayStation blog. And sometimes it's just fun to read cities and states in my old reading voice, you know? It's a fun voice to use. Some announcements, some new game-ish announcements with some articles attached. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, where a new LEGO Star Wars game is in development. Huzzah. Push the button. Search your feelings and you'll know a brand new LEGO Star Wars game is in development. Or if you're not tuned into the Force, you can just search online instead. Over the weekend, Skywalker Sounds Matt Wood briefly mentioned he was working on a new LEGO Star Wars project during Star Wars Celebration. You can see a clip of the conversation below. LEGO game developer Warner Brothers has yet to announce the game, but Skywalker Sound is the official Disney-owned audio company behind the Star Wars franchise, among various other things, so you'd expect Wood to know what he was talking about. And separately, Eurogamer has heard word of the title from sources close to its production. From what I understand, it's an ambitious project. There's a clip from screenshot here from Instagram. It's LEGO Star Wars: The New Complete Saga, episodes 1 through 9, and Clone Wars Rebels and Mandalorian levels. The hugely successful LEGO Star Wars series has so far adapted the space opera's prequel trilogy, original trilogy, Clone Wars TV show, and devoted an entire game to episode 7, The Force Awakens, which was awesome, and I platinumed it. Excitingly, I've heard this next game is more than just an adaptation of the saga's remaining 2 episodes, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. While these episodes will be included, the project is designed to tell the story of the entire saga, and I've heard it described as the, quote, ultimate, end quote, Lego Star Wars game. Expect to see it announced later this year. Cool. Next thing comes from Gamatsu. There's an update on this one. This is from Sal Romano, where Capcom's teasing an April 16th, which if you're listening to this as it goes live on youtube.com or your podcast service of choice, means you might know what it is, or you will be gearing up to know what it is. Capcom teases April 16th announcement with video featuring Alien vs. Predator, Darkstalkers, and more. Capcom is teasing a special announcement for April 16th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's not right. That'd be noon. That'd be noon Eastern time if it's 9 a.m. Pacific. Anyways, with a new video titled, quote, Here Comes a New Challenger. The 24-second clip shows reflections of a fighting game over an arcade controller and that's what it says, including Gigawing, Darkstalkers the Night Warriors, Street Fighter 2, Pro Gear, and Alien vs. Predator. Let's see. Update as of a little bit before noon. According to a Nintendo Life report citing, quote, an anonymous source, end quote, this announcement is for a plug-and-play two-player arcade stick packed with classic Capcom arcade games. It is reportedly a full-size device with a close match to the interface used in the original arcade cabinets and will retail as high as €200. It should be noted this should be taken as nothing more than a rumor until an official announcement is made. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. Let's do some new games and dates. Actually, we need to do listener mail. We got to do listener mail. I always forget this. So, as I've said before, y'all can reach out to me on that. They're psforums.pressxtoalex.com, or you can also get at me at twitter.com/pressxtoalex, just like Music Saves 71590 did. She asked, Dreams Dreams early access times were released, and I feel like people are so ungrateful. I see so many people. I lost the tweet. Oh my god! So many people complaining that VR support isn't coming to early access, and it should release sooner. And why isn't the full game release? So my question is: this because people don't understand what an early access is, even though they clearly stated in the FAQ, or just part of the human condition? I get so frustrated because I think everyone should just be happy it's happening at all. So I hit on this on Twitter where I said it's a mix of both. Part of it also is just welcome to video games in 2019. We're tossing around a lot of different terms and we all don't know what they mean. Yes, it was clearly stated in the FAQ. This is coming from someone that spent 8 years of their life in video game retail. No one's reading that FAQ. You've got the people that listen to a podcast like this, or a podcast like Podcast Beyond, or Game Scoop, or Kind of Funny Games Daily, or the Gamescast, or What's Good Games, or Easy Allies, or Frame Trap, or anything, Giant Bombcast, anything like that. Those are the hardest of hardcore. Yes, most of those shows, myself not lumped into there by any stretch of the imagination, pull in 22,000 something listeners plus every day or every week. A smaller show like me, also exists, but it's gaming. I mean, 80, almost 100 million people have a PS4 in their home. And so a microcosm of that are listening to shows like this, and a microcosm of that number has gone out to read that FAQ. So I think a lot of it is things like early access get tossed around a lot. We saw it with Fortnite, we saw it with PUBG, and then we see it with something like Dreams, where early access means a number of things. And then also something like that is new. Something like that is not an established construct in the gaming industry yet, where we toss words around like fast and loose, like exclusive, and what is a console exclusive, what is a console launch exclusive, what is a console launch temporary exclusive on a time delay safe that only the manager has access to exclusive. And I think we're still trying to figure out as an industry and as consumers what early access means. And I think you have to have that breakdown, like, Dreams tossed out to be like, hey, look, it's just the creator tool. It's just this, but you can stream it. VR is not going to be in it. That's all going to be later. But if you buy it now for $30, you won't have to pay full price, whatever that is, later. Like, you'll get the full game when it's out. And we also live, and this is the example I used in my reply, we live in a world where we just got the first photo of a black hole, and there was an article up talking about how it's not very good. That's just where we are. we take a lot of stuff for granted, and then we also don't understand a lot of stuff, and there's a center in that Venn diagram that's just a butthole. And that's where all of that stuff lives, is inside that butthole. And it sucks because, like, there are a handful of us that read that FAQ and, like, that understand or obsessed with that photo of a black hole. But then there are some people that are just like, ugh, it's not everything I wanted. And, okay, just okay, period. That's what I have to say to that. Yeah, sure, okay, you're upset, fine. But it's $30. No one's saying you have to buy it. And just because it doesn't have VR doesn't mean it's not ever going to have it. It just doesn't have it now. Be cool with that. Get in there, experience it, do the creator tool or download other people's creations, hop in there. As far as what the question is whether or not it's the human condition or if it's just people being ungrateful. It's a mix of both, and then a lack of direction of what early access is. Like I said, not everybody that plays games enjoys these deep dives on them, are obsessed with them, throw themselves into these weeds with it, right? To where they come out this grizzled, jaded curmudgeon. It's like me. It's a situation where there's not a preconceived definition of early access, just like there's not one of exclusive. And what one gets from early access out of Fortnite Battle Royale, out of PUBG, out of Apex Legends, isn't the same you're going to get out of Dreams. Whereas you can load up Apex, Fortnite, PUBG, whatever, and you're like, yeah, this is pretty much a full game of everything I'd want. Like, they're going to make adjustments and on the fly and whatnot, but all things considered, this is a pretty complete experience. Whereas with Dreams, it's not there. Like, it's not that. And early access for them does mean early access. Like, it is a limited set. It is, maybe they'll make adjustments here and there, but this is a limited community-driven thing to help build not just word of mouth, but build stuff for you to have when the whole game comes out. So there is that much there for you. This is how Dreams has to go. This is just the way it's got to launch, because if that thing launched and there was no community content in there, like, what would be the point? You would be waiting. You just pay $60 to wait for someone else to do something. So Dreams is tricky, but I think this is the way it's got to go. And I think it's got to be powered by that word of mouth. So as far as it not having VR, as far as it not having all that stuff, I mean, people just need to get over it. And the people that want to play it, that want to create in it, or got into the beta and really want to be, like, more involved with it, can. And people like me and people like you are going to get in there and reap all the benefits of those people's creations. And we're going to love it. And we're going to have a great time. It's how it carries itself from there. Can it propel itself by that word of mouth? It's not a AAA release. It's not a big state. It's not part of the big four, right, that we always talk about. But it's there, and it could do some really cool shit. But I don't know. I don't. As far as your stance, I don't know why people are that upset. I do, and I don't. I don't agree with it. But, like, it's just video games in 2019. That's just what it is at this point. Thank you for writing in, though. You remember, you can write in at twitter.com/pressxtalex or at psforums.pressxtalex.com. And as always, those links are always available in the audio description, the episode description of the video and podcast. Anyways, new games and dates for you. Let's see. Lead Society to Prosperity or Despair and Frostpunk coming to PS4 this summer. A Chair in a Room, Greenwater creeps to PSVR April 23rd. Paper Beast from the creator of Another World comes out to PSVR this year. No Straight Roads pits rock against EDM later this year. And those are some new games and dates. But if you want to know what's coming out this week so you can hop off this show once it's done, don't leave while I'm talking. I'm watching you, Mike in Florida. But if you want to know what comes out to the PS Store this week, we need to do the drop. Remember, the drop are your new PlayStation games for April 16th, 2019, subject to change without notice and only relevant to that there North American store. Anniversary Collection Arcade Classics comes to PS4 Digital April 18th. Konami starts its 50th anniversary celebration with the first installment of the Anniversary Collection series of all-time classics. This includes 8 arcade masterpieces of the 80s, from Nemesis to Haunted Castle, enhanced with modern features. Crossovers by Paugi comes to PS4 and PS Vita. Digital Cross Buy out April 17th. Solve crossword puzzles one letter at a time, because that's how crossword puzzles are done. Crossovers are little crosswords with just one letter missing. Oh. Find the letters, then unscramble them to solve the cryptic clue. Crossovers by Paugi contains 200 crossword clues and 200 terrible jokes as a reward for solving each one. Dark Quest 2 comes to PS4 Digital. Dark Quest 2 is a turn-based RPG where you control a party of heroes on your epic quest to defeat the evil sorcerer and his minions. Each map is designed to test your party's strength, courage, and sanity as you go deeper and deeper into the castle seeking the evil sorcerer. Here's your Alex Derrickson pick of the week. Ghost Giant comes to PSVR, digital, and retail. As the Ghost Giant, you are the protector of the lonely little boy Lewis, who's in dire need of a helping hand. Build trust with Lewis by helping him overcome big or even gigantic obstacles. Discover Lewis's world, meet its eccentric inhabitants, and experience a heartwarming and sometimes heartbreaking story. God's Trigger comes to PS4 Digital April 18th. Slay enemies with speed and precision in an over-the-top show of blood and explosions, dodging bullets and making split-second decisions. Play solo or with others Those are a lot of weird, half sentences. When an angel and a demon team up to kill their way into heaven and stop the apocalypse, bullets will fly and blood will be shed. Heaven's Vault comes to PS4 Digital and is Alex Derrickson's bad cover art, worst cover art of the week. It's not very good. An archaeological narrative adventure with an entire hieroglyphic language to decipher. Sail the rivers of space, explore lost moons, uncover ancient artifacts, and piece together a 5,000-year-old secret. Every answer feeds into a story that adapts around your actions. Will you uncover the path to Heaven's Vault? Iron Snout comes to PS4 and PS Vita digital cross-buy. I take that back. This might be worse. I think this is the worst cover out of the week. Seriously, why is that wolf carrying such a weird staffed axe blade? Anyways, once upon a time, pigs would have to build a house of bricks to keep the wolves at bay. But not anymore. An Iron Snout, its hero Piggy has taken up learning martial arts, and now it's the wolves that need to keep their distance, because in the bonkers button-mashing beat-em-up, bacon is off the menu for good. My Time at Portia comes to PS4 digital and retail. Start a new life in the enchanting town of Portia. Restore your pa's neglected workshop to its former glory by fulfilling commissions, growing crops, raising animals, and befriending the quirky inhabitants of this charming post-apocalyptic land. Nurse Love Syndrome RE Therapy comes to PS Vita digital April 18th. Meet cheerful Korai Sorai, fresh out of nursing school, as she joins Yurigama Hospital. Surviving a near-death experience as a child left her with a desire to become a nurse. Our World Has Ended. You're goddamn right it has. Our World Has Ended comes to PS4 digital April 18th. A new masterpiece of narrative visual novel storytelling followed Judgment 7, a team of eccentric developers working on their latest game in augmented reality. On a summer's day, their AR headset let them catch a glimpse of Tokyo in ruins. Could it really be the end of the world? Oh, fuck. Path to Nimosyne, capital M-N-E-M-O-S-Y-N-E. At first blush, I thought that said Path to Mayonnaise. Comes to PS4 digital. Relax, empty your mind, activate your senses, and immerse yourself into Path to Nimosyne, a hypnotic adventure created within an infinite zoom. Walk the path, explore your mind, and recover all lost memories by solving dozens of imaginative puzzles. Will you be able to reach the end of the path? Please don't touch anything comes to PS4 digital. Covering for a colleague, you find yourself in front of a mysterious console with a green screen monitor showing a pixelated live image of an unknown city. Also present is an ominous red button with simple instructions to not touch anything. Go ahead, press the button. You know you want to. Quiver comes to PSVR digital. I'm sorry, can we just talk for a second about how a game comes out this week called Please Don't Touch Anything? Oh my god. Quiver comes to PSVR digital. quiver puts the power of the bow and arrow in your hands. Tasked with defending your keep and the power within from an ever-advancing enemy, you'll find yourself in a thrilling fight for your very survival. Snooker 19 comes to PS4, digital and retail. This is the most authentic simulation of the sport ever created, with TV-style presentation and commentary, true-to-life physics, and advanced artificial intelligence. Choose from offline and online modes, from quick play online matchmaking to global online tournaments that link in real time with the live World Snooker calendar. Are you kidding me? There's 2 of these? Snooker Nation Championship comes to PS4 digital. Challenge the best snooker players in the world to take home that all-important win. The offline tournament includes competing in qualifiers through to the grand final, played on championship specification tables, or challenge players online. Snooker Nation Championship is digital snooker at its best. I'm sorry, at is best. At is best. And if this is snooker at is best, then you should probably take it up with Snooker 19, because it sounds like some Jets and Sharks shit. Table of Tales, The Crooked Crown comes to PSVR digital. Embark on a digital tabletop RPG, a virtual reality adventure of swashbuckling and sorcery. Take a seat at a mysterious table and unlock its true potential as a magical living board game. Take the helm and lead your party of scoundrels through realms of adventure, investigating the misdeeds of their pasts and facing up to terrible dangers. Tarot Reading Premium comes to PS4 digital. The tarot reading is a pack of playing... Try this again. The tarot reading is a pack of playing cards used in parallel for divination in the form of tarotology and cartomancy. Our game makes you feel like you are visiting a real gypsy tarot reader. She will shuffle the cards, let you choose them, and then present them and explain their meanings. All 78 cards are animated. Truberbrook comes to PS4 digital and retail April 17th. Enjoy an adventurous vacation to a 1960s parallel universe. A thrilling sci-fi mystery adventure game that takes place at a remote village in rural Germany. You won the trip in a lottery. Or at least that's how it seems, but instead of getting some rest, you could find yourself having to save the world. World of Warships Legends comes to PS4 digital. Experience epic naval action in World of Warships Legends, a global multiplayer free-to-play online game where you can master the seas and history's greatest warships. Recruit legendary commanders, upgrade your vessels, and stake your claim to naval supremacy. Early access starts today, April 12th at 12 a.m. Pacific time. All right. World War Z comes to PS4 digital and retail in like fucking 5 years too late, if you ask me. Humanity is on the brink of extinction. From New York to Moscow and Jerusalem, the undead apocalypse continues to spread. As the end looms, a hardened few band together to defeat the horde and outlive the dead. World War Z is a heart-pounding co-op third-person shooter featuring swarms of hundreds of zombies. And those are your new releases for this week. All right, so you bet your ass I'm going to see if Truberbrook has a platinum. It's Trophy Talk time. Trophy Talk part of the show. I take you from 0 to 100 on a game because we're not destined to live in this mortal coil forever, so we might as well get all the shitty platinums we can because, you know, until they give us a VR trophy case or something that we can physically and tangibly hold, none of this really matters. Let's see. E. Crossman. It's a badminton game with a platinum? Okay. We did Super Weekend mode last week. So we're going to look at Caravans. Nope, Caravan Stories does not have a platinum. Let's look at Snooker Nation. That might be the only one we're pulling this week, I think. Crossover by Paugi has a platinum. All those Paugi games have platinums. Get a guide, get the platinums. I don't need to sit there and read these trophy lists to you every month. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Please Don't Touch Anything has a platinum. We'll take a look at that. First, we're going to look at Caravan Store. No, we're not. We're going to look at Snooker Nation. Snooker Nation has... That's Snooker 19. Snooker Nation is 2 bronze, 4 silver, 9 gold, and a platy, plat. Win your first match. Okay, so win play for cash match. Beat the AI in versus. So here are the trophies that people don't have yet. Achieve a snooker maximum break of 147. Won the Snooker World Championship. Win the semifinal of the championship. Win the quarterfinal of the championship. The second round, so the championship, just the rounds of the championship. So winning the rounds of the championship and then achieving a snooker maximum break of 147. It seems like everybody else, like the probably 2 or 4 people that have played this game so far, have the trophies. It's just the world championship stuff and then that 147, and then you'll get that fatty platty. Other than that, it's qualify for a championship, win 2 different kinds of matches, then break points, score point. I don't know what snooker is. Please don't touch anything. Has 8 bronze, 10 silver, 6 gold, and a platinum. Let's take a look here. All right, there's a trophy for pressing the red button. Press 1,000 buttons. Delete save file with all endings unlocked. Call 10 secret numbers. Unlock every ending. Restart the game 100 times. Solve the secret puzzle in 6 moves. Call 652-9770. Unlock the hammer ending. Find the hidden ghost. Okay, so this is a lot of story-driven stuff. No one has the trophies for this yet, so there's not like codes or no one's like seeking this out. But there are apparently 20-plus endings to this game. So yeah, this trophy list seems familiar. I'm gonna look up Please Don't Touch Anything, because I don't mean the trophy list doesn't sound familiar. It sounds similar to Jazz Punk. It was developed by 4 Quarters and Bethesda Game Studios Dallas. Okay, that's definitely not Jazz Punk. Who made Jazz Punk? If you haven't played Jazz Punk's an easy platinum. You need a guide, but I love Jazz Punk. Necrophone Games was Jazz Punk, so not the same. But that's all I really got from the trophies this time around, it looks like. So we're gonna call this one early here. Not early. I mean, Jesus, almost an hour and a half in. Let's just go ahead and let's just hour 17. Whatever here. It's been the PlayStation Forecast. Comes to you each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/PressXToAlex and podcast services around the globe. And remember, if you want to get the show early, you can get it as early as live on twitch.tv/PressXToAlex Monday nights when I record the sausage being made live as it happens, because that's what live means. And remember, if you want to support the show, you can at patreon.com/PressXToAlex at the 1 tier to rule them all tier, which is just the $1 tier, but there is room for growth where you can contribute more than $1. I'm not going to say no, but buck minimum. If you don't have the buck to toss, no big deal. If you want to help support the show, you can subscribe to YouTube or to the podcast service of choice, leave a 5-star review, all that stuff, post it on the internet, tell your friends, tell your mom's friend, send it off to places that have more pool than I have, make them listen and watch. And remember, if you want your voice to be heard outside of just mine, you can at psforums.pressxtoalex.com or at twitter.com/pressxtoalex, where I'm always accepting new followers. Why not? Until next week, have a great week. Take care. And do the thing.